Good evening. Good evening. Welcome. I want to share with you briefly the importance of financial knowledge. My name is Kwabena. Welcome. Finance is so crucial to the business journey, the entrepreneurship journey. Finance is so crucial, and the importance that we attach to it, the money, everything that has to do with the finances of our business, the importance that we attach to it, how we learn it, how we educate ourselves in it, will have a long way to do with how successful we get our business to perform, or how we will quickly find ourselves in financial problems and financial difficulties. Education, financial education, just like any other education, it's the basis, or is the foundation for the success that we have in any particular field. So our education in say health will decide the kind of success that we get in health, and education in say, and education is constructive gathering of information to get results. When something is done, you do something constructively, consciously, to train yourself. That is called education. And usually most of us, we think that we have some kind of knowledge on finance, because when you grow up, or when you get when you're living in this life, you see money, and so your mother will tell you something about money, your father will tell you something about money, your friends will tell you something about money, everybody tells you something about money, and so we all assume that we know something about money. But the financial kind of the finance knowledge that you need to succeed in your business financially, to create the kind of finances that will grow the business, is not the kind of finances that we take from the street. It has to be done with a plan. It has to be done with a strategy. It has to be done with a conscious effort. It has to be done strategically, or we will struggle. We go up today, the next day we come down. We go up, we do well 2 years, the next 4 years we come down, because we may not have studied finances, or the money, or the cash as it is constructively, which means that our financial knowledge may not be stable. And if our finance knowledge is not stable, we will not be able to build the business that we want to build. And so you see that we say that you don't need money to start a business, you just need an idea, but you need some kind of strong financial knowledge to grow a business. You may not need it to start, so to say, but you may need to have a very strong financial knowledge to build a business, because the blood of the business really is the finances. Because so when you start the business, you're going to spend. There will be electricity, there will be salary, there will be the things that you pay for your stock, for the product, there will be transport, there will be book, there are things that you're buying every day, and then you're going to take care of all these finances or this expenditure by the revenues that you're getting. If you're like any other person, most of us are coming from background that nobody really taught us the importance of financial knowledge, and so we just used what we know. And usually when people see money, that's where you see the kind of financial knowledge that they have. And so you start to get some finances in the business, or even sometimes in our personal lives. We start to get finances, we start to get extra revenue. Maybe you finish school and they started to pay you 4,000, 5,000. And now you who didn't have anything, now you are seeing money. The way we use that money that is coming in will prove the kind of financial knowledge that we have. And most people's financial knowledge is really financial education is really based on just get the money and spend. So they are paying you excess revenue now, they are paying you excess income. You have some 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 somewhere in your account. Maybe you work somewhere, or even if you have a business, you have 200,000, 500,000. How you are going to use that money is going to prove the kind of financial knowledge or the kind of financial education that you have. Why? Because most people will just save the money and then they start to spend the money. So all of us, you didn't have money, now you have saved 30,000, 40,000. The first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind, which is a large percentage of the world's population, what comes to our mind is what? I want to buy a car because I need a car to go to work. I want to build a house. I want to change my shoes. I want to change my clothes. I want to maybe take some of the money and go to school with it, because we don't really have very strong financial knowledge. When money starts to come in, you don't start to use the money right away. You don't start to spend the money right away. You sit down to strategize how you can grow the money, how you can multiply the money. And then when you multiply the money, then you can start to use it. But most of us, it's not just about the multiplication. We just use it, we just spend it. And so we call people who are rich as people who have spent money. So he builds a very big house, he buys a very nice car, he lives in a very nice environment, and then we say that he is rich. So that's basically our understanding of, finances, and they reflect the kind of financial education that we have. But people who handle serious wealth, people who handle the millions and the billions, they had to school themselves, they had to educate themselves financially. And so when those people get money, they are not the ones, he has no car and he gets his first 50,000. They are not the one who save to spend. They don't save money to spend. You don't save money to spend. And this, they should have told us when we were growing up. You save money to grow the money. You save money to invest the money. I'm not talking about going to invest in treasury bills or in mutual funds. You have a mechanism where you can multiply that money that quickly, in good ways, in honest ways. And so the people who don't have very strong financial education, when the money starts to come, we fail to stabilize the mind. So we want to let people quickly know that we have money. We have become successful, because for most people, even if they don't have money, it's not so much the difficulty, it's what the people think. And so if you don't have enough confidence in yourself, if you're not stable, if you're not mature emotionally, and you start to get money, you would want everybody else to see that you have money. That's why people will build 10-bedroom houses, 7-bedroom house, and they have just one child or two children. Why? Because to them, somebody else must see that they have money. But people who control a lot of money, their financial education is such that they want to multiply the way the revenue is coming. So maybe they have a business which is making 10,000. They want to start another business that is making another 10,000, or they want to grow that business that is making 10,000 a month to making maybe 200,000 a month and 500,000 a month. And they want to make sure that what the business is bringing is far more than what the business is spending monthly. And that's the difference, is how they create the wealth. And when they start to get the difference, they start to have a very strong investment plan, the growth plan of the money, the wealth creation plan. They have to, they do that, they plan that, they sit down, they plan that. It's not just going to happen. Financial success does not just happen because you had a contract and they paid you. It does not even happen just because you have a business and that business is getting revenue. No, it happens because we sit down to say that this is who I am, these are my interests, this is where I want to go in the next 5 years. And so if I'm getting this kind of revenue, this is how I'm going to plan. And your success will depend on how well informed your plan is. And the plan will be hinged on your financial education. And so financial education is not something that you can sacrifice. When you see the financials, the company financials, the audited accounts and all those things, if you are not an accounting student, or if you didn't do some of those courses, do you still bother to look at the figures to know what others know? When you read the newspaper and you see some of those things, do you look at them, or you just go quickly to look at where they are talking about, sports or entertainment? That will reflect the kind of financial education that you have. So most people are praying for prosperity, but their financial education is weak. That's why you can see a sportsman, when he was actively playing, they were paying him millions, and everybody thought that that man was rich, but his financial knowledge was that weak, and so he could not invest his money well. He could not multiply the money, he could not grow the money because of weak financial education. And then 3 years, 4 years, 5 years after he stopped playing the football, he starts to go down. People ask that, this man was very rich, what happened? It's not that he was very rich, what happened? It's because his financial education was weak. So when he was working, because when you're a footballer, you are really working to be paid. The only thing is that they pay you a big figure. The guy who has the team, who owns the team, is actually the guy who is running the business. If they pay you as a footballer, you are like somebody else who's working in another company that they're paying. They're just paying you. They're just paying you. So because they're paying you, you think that, and because they're paying you millions, more than most people that they pay around the world, you may naively think that you have very strong financial education to be making money. No, you're just being paid. You're just like the security man or the manager somewhere who is being paid. The problem is not the revenue or the size of the revenue so much, even though sometimes they count, but when the revenue comes, what are you able to do with it? There's inlet and there's outlet. In between, what you do with the money that comes in will decide how much wealth that you can create. And that whatever you do in between the inlet and the outlet, the income and the expenditure, whatever you do in between, the robustness of the plan that you have to multiply the money, that is a proof of your financial education. So the man who handles billions is not having the same kind of financial education as the one who's handling thousands or millions. So the difference between the wealth of people, the money that people have, and how sustainable they're able to keep them, is really just a reflection of the financial knowledge that they have, or the financial education that they have. And none of us was born with any strong financial education. We all had to learn. And it goes beyond the one that you studied in school. If you did financial management or those kind of things, people would MBA. Even that, those are just the basis. The proof of your education is the results that you have in that field. So if you're educated financially, you will see it in the finances that you have been able to create out of that. And so it's not just that I'm an accountant. You're an accountant, you have no money to prove, you don't have any financial education. You get schooled, they taught you finance so that you could work for a salary. The proof of your financial education, or the proof that you know something about finances, you know something about money, you know something about how to create wealth, is how much you have been able to create within a limited time, and how sustainable that thing that you have created is. And so financial education is so much important if you believe that you have to create wealth. And the only way to fight poverty is to create prosperity. And you cannot create prosperity if you don't have very solid financial education. And so where we were born in this world, the Africans, just like a lot of other things, our financial education is still something that we have to lift, that we have to up. It's such, most people, when they start to see money, you start to work, you have salary coming in, and a young man around your 20s, and your first decision is that you want to go and buy a land somewhere in some community, and you want to build a house so that you will not pay rent. You have a weak financial knowledge. Why? Because you're going to buy that house, and you are going to take about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to finish building 3, 4 bedroom house based on the salary that you have, unless you are going to do some glulu somewhere. I would rather say that I would want to make that money, multiply it, And if I want to own a house, it should be so much needful for me before I own that house. I'd rather multiply the money, grow it, and use a short time to build that house. There's no point building a house that is taking you 10 years, which is 2-3 bedroom house. It's a waste of money. You wasted the first 3 years, the money that you put in that project, for nothing. And those kind of money, that they are the money that you could easily multiply. Or some people leave outside the country and they start to build a house. It takes them 10 years. They come to build 8-bedroom house. Nobody lives in. They leave it to their cousins, their aunties, and they leave the house there, and every day the house is deteriorating. They are not selling it, they are not renting it, and they call them and they pay the electricity, they pay the garden boy. That means that your financial education is very weak. Why? Because you're working somewhere every day. You're spending your life. You're spending your life, and then you come to put up 3, 4, or 8-bedroom house in very nice area, which could be millions, and then you leave another country working 3, 4 jobs. And the only thing that you are happy with is that you can tell your people that you have a house in your country. You will never create wealth. You have no idea how to create wealth. So your only financial education, the only financial education you have is how to work for money. And so when they pay you, you come to build a house here. Or some people come to buy cars and keep them here, so that whenever they come 3 months, they drive it. But they are not millionaires. They don't have money. They just work. Next time, if they fire them, the next 3 days or the next 1 month, they have nowhere to go. They can't pay their mortgage, yet they're able to keep so much money in their home country. It's a weak financial knowledge. We have it. It's very rampant. Very rampant. Look at how much we spend on funerals, or sometimes even on weddings, on occasions, on naming ceremonies. And the people who are spending this kind of money have no excess money at all. But any occasion they want to spend. Any occasion they want to spend. You have no 10,000 saved anywhere, but you want to spend 5,000 on your wedding. You want to spend 20,000 on your wedding. Meanwhile, they pay you very little money where you work. It means that you and money will be very far, unless you go to steal, unless you go to lie, unless you go to cheat. You will never have access. And money is like that. Even if you cheat to get it. It's like you running towards a cliff, you fall and it will destroy. And so the only way to salvage your financial situation, my financial situation, is to change the kind of education, or to improve the kind of financial education that we have. And if you look at the background that we are coming from, there are a lot of errors that they have given us in terms of finances. And so you look across Africa, our financial knowledge is that weak. That's why we mortgage the future of our economy, the future of our country. We go to do negotiations and they affect so much. Some of government officials go to do some negotiations and you can see that there's no financial education at all. There's no financial education at all. So it's a topic that you would want to study. And if you want to improve your finances, if I want to improve my finances, it's a topic that we would have to study and study them well. That there is inlet of money and there's outlet of money. The difference is how much we're able to keep and how much we're able to multiply the processes in between. And those will only be dependent on how much knowledge, how much education that we have, the strength that we have, the financial education that we have. Somebody, you can give them 10,000. And because of their financial education, you come back next year, that money is 1 million. Another person, you give him 10,000. Usually, just ask people, if I give you 10,000, what would you do with it? And you hear the answer. Somebody will just say, I'll go and buy treasurables. Another person will say, I'll go and buy land and keep it. Another person will say, I will go and what and do. All kind of flimsy. It shows that this, even though we all believe that we want to have financial freedom, we want to create wealth, but it also shows that a lot of us are not ready. It is almost going to be impossible for us to create millions, wealth, because the financial things that we know, if they give us money, how we will use it, shows that our financial education is weak. And if our financial education is weak, it means that poverty, lack, not enough, will dominate us all our lives. That It's a fact. So if your financial education is weak, you have to improve it. So you don't make money. You don't make money to save it and keep it like in a savings account, just like that. You make money, you save it, and you would want to multiply that money. And no matter how little it is, when you start, what is important is knowing the processes, knowing how people grow wealth, knowing how people multiply money. So if you want to impress everybody around you, you will not be the one who will be able to multiply money. If you're sure of, if you cannot keep things separate from the emotions that you have, you cannot create wealth, because you so much over concerned of what people think of you. You start a business, don't worry about what others are saying. Continue to build a business, even if you have excess cash. Just think of how you can multiply that money. And any time that you get into trouble, as business will always get you into some kind of trouble, it is your financial knowledge or financial education that will help you to fight back on track. It's the financial education that you have. So if your business is in trouble, if you are in debt, it is going to take your strength in terms of financial education to fight back and to make that business profitable again. And if you have strong financial education, the situation should not disturb you that much. Even though you have created a mess, you should be able to sit down and say that, where is my strength? Where is my strength? Before I started this business, I didn't owe anybody. Now, after 1 year of running this business, I owe everybody. The business is not doing well. Okay, so what are you going to do? You just have to decide to say that I'm going to improve my financial education. So you have to get some books on it. You have to go and learn. You have to go for seminars. You have to go and ask people who are doing this well and try to retool your mind, because you cannot create wealth with a poor financial education. Forget wealth, sustainable wealth that people have access, is not going to come by weak financial education. No matter how much salary that they pay you, you will still not have enough until you have strong financial education. The revenue of the business is not the one that is going to solve your financial problems. It's the financial education that you have that is going to solve your financial problems. Because if you are making a lot of money and you dissipate it, you destroy it, you just misuse that money, then you will not have the wealth. People who have created wealth, when the money was coming in, they did not destroy them. They managed them. They multiplied the money. They were good managers of money. And you cannot be a good manager until you have appropriate education of money. You cannot be a very good manager of business if your financial knowledge is weak. So the Dancontes and all these people who have created wealth, there's something about what they know about finances. When you talk to them, you see the discipline. You see the convictions that they have of money. When you talk to the average street boy, the average poor person, you also know their knowledge or the understanding or the education in terms of finances. And usually it's just that, because poverty is a reflection of weak financial education. Lack is a reflection of weak financial education. The people we call middle class, they have weak financial education. That's why they are in the middle. The moment you get to have strong financial education, you start to move into another realm. Why? Because if you have, they call the middle class. There's no middle. It's either you're poor or you're rich. Those are hard things to say, but that's it. So it's either you're rich or you're poor. And mainly it starts with the education that you have. So if you decide to become successful in terms of finances, you would have to decide with the education, and you may have to reprogram your whole mind in terms of what you call finances and what you call financial prosperity. So when you say that somebody is financially sound, it is not the house, it is not the car that they own, it is the revenue that they have created, the multiple streams of revenue that they have created that are more than the expenses. And they're able to have the discipline to multiply the revenues that are coming in. They continue to grow the revenue, and that's why they get to the billions. That's why you see them go to expanding in oil, in cement, in everywhere. Why? Because he's so much skilled. So education, if you have the basis right, you become skilled. And all of us, it starts with the conviction and with the consciousness that my finances, I want to improve them. And if I'm going to improve them, my financial knowledge will not only be just to finish school, get a degree, go and work, get salary. That's the only education that most people have. Finish school, get a better salary, work, and they so naively believe that once they get paid, they'll become rich. That's a lie. Until your financial knowledge is the one that can make you rich, your financial education is the one that can make you rich, you will never be rich, no matter how much they pay you. Because even if they pay you $1 million a month, you will go and build houses, go and buy nice cars, buy nice clothes, you go and display them at the funeral, you throw parties everywhere, you show people that you have arrived. And that's a weak financial education, which most people have. So the choices that we make financially, they just reflect the kind of education that we have on finances. Somebody could have millions and it will still be disciplined enough to keep growing the money because they have strong financial education. And your financial education will make you to become more wise, you have more, you have better way of looking at finances and at issues. And you are not the one trying to prove to everybody that you're rich, because you know that there's a process in between. And you would want to sharpen and get skilled as to how money is multiplied. So if I build a business, if I start a business, I'm going to struggle, continue to struggle until I've been able to improve my financial education. If I don't improve it and I don't get the discipline to know what is important to spend on and what is not important to spend on, my financial education will tell me where to take which finances and where not to take which finances, how to negotiate on the loans, what to do, how to negotiate with your workers, your suppliers, everything in between that has to do with money. You're just doing them according to the level of financial education that you have. I'm doing them according to the level of financial education that I have. So if they are weak, then they will continue to put me into trouble. Until I get wise up. So if they look at your financial statement, if they look at your personal expenditure, everything in it will reflect the level of financial education that you have. If they come to look at your business finances, it will just reflect the financial education that I have or you have. And so we just have to make a decision to improve them and to build them. And there are things that people know. So it is not so much about the money that is coming in as to how much financial education that you have, and that is going to be responsible for the financial successes. People are hoping that their finances will change, but they are not changing their financial education. They are not changing the thoughts, the ideas that they have of finances. They just hope that it will change one day. They just hope that God will change it for them one day. They just hope that there will be somebody who will show up somewhere, and then finances will change. They just hope that tomorrow somebody will call them from somewhere and just give them a great job, a project. Yes, even if that happens, you will still get back to the same level if your financial knowledge, or even worse off, if your financial education is weak. Because that which will lift you beyond the poverty, the lack, the struggle, whether at the personal level, whether at the country level, whether at the business level, will be the financial education. And I said that education does not just happen. It's a conscious effort to get the relevant knowledge required to change the results of a particular situation. That's education. And so the results that we have prove the kind of education that we have. It's as simple as that. You cannot say that you're educated and you have no results in that field. No, you just have certificates. You just have something. If I say that I know I'm educated in this, the quality of results, the level of achievements that I have in that is a proof. It's not a certificate. Don't so much believe in the certificate. It's the results that I can get in that which shows that I am really educated in that. So our finances will not change until we start to improve on our financial education. It will not change. it will not change, because then, if they can give you 10 million, within a year you come back there, all the 10 million is gone. And somebody could have 20,000. And because of strong financial education, that's why businesses, you can see a business which is doing so well, you change whoever is running it, you put another person there with a very bad financial decisions. The next minute, the business that was doing so well, it starts to go down. Why? Because the difference is in the education that somebody who is in charge has. So that's why you can give a country's economy to one person and he runs everything into ditch, and another person will come and build the whole economy into a whole different level. The difference is the education that they have financially. Financial education is everything. So the quality of financial education that we have will change our personal finances, it will change the business finances, it will change the nation's finances. So if the results that we continue to have, today you win, tomorrow you lose, today you win, tomorrow you lose. No, if you're getting educated properly, you see that there will be consistent progress, there will be consistent growth, there will be consistent increase, because you're increasing in the education. So it's not like, oh, I was doing so well last year and then they started. It means that you have not studied the subject. I have not studied the subject. I have not schooled myself. I have not educated myself. The moment I educated myself, I start to see patterns. I start to see levels. I start to see the links, the network, and how it is created. And that's why people have created billions. And you can see that they are not just going to go down in a day. No. Because of the kind of education, finances that they have. So you can sit in your home and wish for them and pray that they will become poor. No, because if they learned the subject well, they are not just going to be poor. They have studied it. They have built themselves. So if you put them anywhere, give them 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you come back, they have created another wealth. Because the education that you have is the one that is giving you the leverage. The financial education that you have is the one that is giving you the leverage. If your financial education is strong, you would want to be honest with finances. You see somebody whose financial education is weak, they try to cut corners everywhere. They cheat, they lie, they are impatient, they don't believe in the processes, they have wrong understanding of how money is created, how finances is created, So they move everywhere, they lie, they cheat, they spin people, they con people. They do this because they don't have strong financial education. But the moment you have the proper education, you are patient. You believe in the due process. You believe in stage building. You believe in becoming better all the time. You believe that once you craft it, once you get skilled, because finance is a skill. The people who have been able to create finances, the people who have been able to run businesses that have become successful, the financial skill is there. They get skilled. That's why they're able to build it. If you don't get the financial skill well, forget it. You will go today and tomorrow you are down. You go today, tomorrow you are down, until you start to get the right kind of financial education. And financial education is not going to work for salary and think that you'll become very prosperous. It means that you have very weak financial education. It's not just you going to build a business or going to get a project, and then when you get a salary, it means that the payment, it means that you're going to be successful financially. No, it's a complex composite. It is made up of a lot of things, and largely your decisions prove your financial education. So it's not just I have a contract and I'll be rich. No. When you get the profit from the contract, that is if you're going to get a profit at all. Because if your financial education is weak, by the time you finish the contract, you'll be in shit. You'll be in debt because you will spend without much information, without much knowledge. And even if you happen to get a profit from it, you will see that the first thing that you do with the profit is to go and build a house, buy a car, which will have no relevance to your business. If you want to grow a business, all your expenditure should be bringing in money. The way you spend should be bringing in money. What you call investment should be bringing you money. The house that you live in, how could that be an investment if it's not bringing in money? The car that you are driving, How could that car be an investment if that car is not bringing returns? If I buy a nice shoe, nice clothes, nice house, they don't mean that they are investment. They are not investment. They are not an asset. They are not assets, so to say. They just keep on taking money from our pocket. So you have a nice car, maybe it supports the business, but it depreciates. It depreciates. That's why when you go to the bank, they don't count car. And so our finances, the financial education that we have, is the one that is going to create the prosperity for the future. It's not your hope. It's not your hope, If you're hoping and your financial education is stagnant, it will not change. The financial situation will not change. No matter what happens, they can pay you 10,000 a month. It will not change. Why? Because when 10,000 or 1 million comes, you'll be a showboy. You go and spend all that. You call the girls, you call your friends, you throw a party, you go and build a house at East Legon, buy a Range Rover, you change your office, you change everything. It means you have weak financial education. And largely, we do have them, weak ones, weak financial education. That's why we keep on struggling in the business. We keep on struggling at the personal level. We keep on struggling even as a country because our financial education is weak. If you doubt that, go through town. See how many uncompleted houses that people have. And some of them have been there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. The same family does not have money, but they have locked a whole capital in an uncompleted building for years. You don't need 10 years to build a house. You just need a year or two. You just have to save the money, grow the money, and then you can go and build a house in a year. There's no point trying to build a house. You put that money in it, and you're not living in the house, and your money has been in that uncompleted house for 10 years. It means your financial education is very weak. Financial education is very weak. So you just lock the money and think that, no, the money, if it's spent, if it's put in the soil, if you sow that money, the money must get returns. So every money that we are going to sow should bring in returns. If you're not bringing in returns, it means our financial knowledge is weak. It's like the farmer who is sowing the seeds. Money is a seed. If you're sowing the seed and we are not getting the harvest, it means that our financial knowledge is weak. And most people, they just eat the seed. So we are all eating nice house, nice car, traveling everywhere, proving to people that we are rich. And then the most dangerous thing is that when they fire you from the job or the nice cars, you can't even buy fuel. When they fire you from the job, you may have to sell your house because your financial education was weak. So you thought your house was something much important. It was not important until it brings in revenue. If that house brings in revenue more than what you spend on it, then you have a good financial education. So what's the point trying to buy a very nice car when you have the one that is working? Just because you won a contract, just because you had some extra income. No, multiply the money, grow it. And financial education has nothing to do with traditional education. It has everything to do with personal development, personal education. And that's why wealth is personally made. It's a reflection, financial prosperity is a reflection of somebody's financial education, and they did that deliberately. It's not because they went to school. So that's why you have a lot of people who have never gone to school, but their financial education, their choices, if they have money, how they use it, is different from somebody else who didn't, who did go to school. So because it is how you are schooling yourself, how you are getting educated in terms of finances, and they are proving in how the money is made and how the money is multiplied, other than how the money is made and how the money is spent. So almost everybody, the only way they know is work for it and spend it. And we have to prove to everybody that we are rich. You don't need to prove to anybody that you are rich. No need. Just build your wealth, because money is important. Until somebody is in trouble, until you're in trouble, until there's a health situation, or until there's an emergency, you may trivialize money. Until somebody else needs something that you can help, you may trivialize it. And so thank you very much for watching. You can only change your finances by the financial education that you have. And if you went to school to study chemistry, chemistry is not financial education. That is chemistry. If you went to school to study engineering, engineering is not financial education. That is engineering. If you still went to school to study accounting, accounting is not financial education. You just studied accounting. That's why you can become an accountant. You work for salary. That is a whole different thing. For your financial education is the proof of the finances that you are having and your understanding of how money is made and how it is multiplied. So the same with me. But the situation is not going to change until we change the education that we have on the subject first. If education that we have gets improved, then there's a chance that that situation can change. That if we still have that old knowledge, that old education that created that problem, and we don't change it, we don't replace it, we don't upgrade it, the finances will not change. That's why most people will have financial difficulties all their lives. Not because life is cruel, no. It's because the financial education that they still control is weak. It's weak. Entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to improve your financial education. It's one of the best ways. So if you want to try a side business, try a side business. When you have to think to pay salary at the end of the month, nobody will tell you to improve your situation. So thank you very much for watching. My name is Kwabena. Talk to you another time. Thank you.